We must never forget that art is not a form of propaganda, it is a form of the truth. In serving his vision of the truth, the artist best serves his nation. This country cannot afford to be materially rich and spiritually poor. A man may die, nations may rise and fall, but an idea lives on. We have become more and more not a nation of athletes but a nation of spectators. Never before has man had such capacity to control his own environment, to end thirst and hunger, to conquer poverty and disease, to banish illiteracy in massive human misery. We have the power to make this the best generation of mankind in the history of the world, or make it the last. I look forward to a future in which our country will match its military strength with our moral restraint, its wealth with our wisdom, its power with our purpose. The supreme reality of our time is the vulnerability of our planet. The ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of all. Art is the great Democrat, calling forth creative genius from every sector of society, disregarding race or religion or wealth or color. Peace is a daily, a weekly, a monthly process, gradually changing opinions, slowly eroding old barriers, quietly building new structures, and however undramatic the pursuit of peace, that pursuit must go on. We cannot negotiate with people who say what's mine is mine and what's yours is negotiable. Liberty without learning is always in peril, and learning without liberty is always in vain. One person can make a difference, and everyone should try. Leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. The great enemy of truth is very often not the lie, a deliberate, contrived and dishonest but the myth, a persistent, persuasive and unrealistic. Too often we hold fast to the clichés of our forebears. We subject all facts to a prefabricated set of interpretations. We enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. The rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. Children are the world's most valuable resource and its best hope for the future. If freedom is to survive and prosper, it will require the sacrifice, the effort and the thoughtful attention of every citizen. A man does what he must in spite of personal consequences, in spite of obstacles and dangers and pressures, and that is the basis of all human morality. Let us not emphasize all on which we differ but all we have in common. Let us consider not what we fear separately but what we share together. If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. I have said that control of arms is a mission that we undertake particularly for our children and our grandchildren, and that they have no lobby in Washington. For one true measure of a nation is its success in fulfilling the promise of a better life for each of its members. Let this be the measure of our nation. The success of this government, and thus the success of our nation, depends in the last analysis upon the quality of our career services. War will exist until that distant day when the conscientious objector enjoys the same reputation and prestige that the warrior does today. In the Chinese language, the word crisis is composed of two characters, one representing danger and the other, opportunity. To further the appreciation of culture among all the people, to increase respect for the creative individual, to widen participation by all the processes and fulfillments of art. This is one of the fascinating challenges of these days. We can say with some assurance that, although children may be the victims of fate, they will not be the victims of our neglect. It may be different elsewhere, but democratic society, in it, the highest duty of the writer, the composer, the artist is to remain true to himself and to let the chips fall where they may. It is increasingly clear that no matter what party is in power, so long as our national security needs keep rising, an economy hampered by restrictive tax rates will never produce enough jobs or enough profits. Now let me make it clear that I believe there can only be one defense policy for the United States, and that is summed up in the word first. I do not mean first, but, I do not mean first, when, I do not mean first, if, I mean first a period. Our deep spiritual confidence that this nation will survive the perils of today, which may well be with us for decades to come, compels us to invest in our nation's future, to consider and meet our obligations to our children and the numberless generations that will follow. Our goal is not the victory of might but the vindication of right. Not peace at the expense of freedom, but both peace and freedom, here in this hemisphere, and, we hope, around the world. God willing, that goal will be achieved. And if we cannot end now our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity, for, in the final analysis, our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet, we all breathe the same air, we all cherish our children's future, and we are all mortal. The life of the arts, far from being an interruption, a distraction, in the life of a nation, is very close to the center of the nation's purpose. And is a test of the quality of a nation's civilization. I can imagine a no more rewarding career, and any man who may be asked in this century what he did to make his life worthwhile, I think can respond with a good deal of pride and satisfaction. I served in the United States Navy.